Hey, this is Tom Calvin. Thanks for tuning in to Tomorrow's Legends.
In 2016, a new TV show hit the digital airwaves and needed a podcast dedicated to chronicling its adventures. An elite team has been assembled for this task. Unfortunately, the world's listeners have not heard of this Wonder Twin duo. And although they may not be known now, in the future they will be referred to as Tomorrow's Legends.
Flash and Harley have made the big time. We got a personal shout out on the show. I knew they were listening to us all along, Harley. Must have been your interaction with them at Dragon Con. What? You guys don't believe us?
Wonder Twins.
See? Told ya.
That's right. Take that, other podcasts.
And now, here are your hosts, the Scarlet Speedster himself, the Flash, and the Maid of Mischief, Harley Quinn.
Personal shout out from two of our favorite characters.
That's right. Super cool. I'm excited.
Oh, it is so cool. Welcome back, Legendaires. Welcome to Tomorrow's Legends. We are here to cover Season 5, Episode 9, Zari, Not Zari. I am one half of the honored and mentioned Wonder Twins, the Flash.
And I'm the better half of the mentioned Wonder Twins, Harley Quinn.
Hello, Legends.
And I guess we have a third side to us, too. That is Gideon. All right, let's, do you got any news for us, Harley? I mean, it's been a while. We've been gone for, how long have we been gone for?
We've been gone for a while. That is for sure. We've been gone for so long. I wasn't expecting to come back.
Yeah, I kind of surprised you when I said, "Hey, it's back tonight." You're like, "What? I'm not ready."
I think I kind of honestly just I like literally lost track of the time. And even though I knew the date we were coming back, I didn't realize that date had rolled around. So here we are. But speaking of air dates, my news, the only thing I was able to find on air dates is that the next episode, which is called The Great British Bake Off, whatever that means, play on the Great British Bake Off.
Yeah.
That will for sure air next week, but I didn't see any other dates listed. And I have not been combing through the news. I've been trying to keep an eye on Twitter, but haven't seen anything too crazy. Everything's, mostly related to other news, not really Legends.
Yeah, there hasn't really been a lot. I've been pretty focused on my Star Wars Mandalore podcast lately because we're still going strong every week, and we're covering Clone Wars right now. So I've been more keeping my ear to the ground and nose to the ground for Star Wars news. So Legends stuff just hasn't come up, and then it was Arc Phase actually that reminded me, hey, it's back this week, and I did what you did. What? Really? And then that's when I texted you, and yeah, sure enough. But I guess it feels longer than it feels long because we were gone. We were gone for a while that we decided to do our live show on the Facebook page because we'd been gone for a while, and that was the last time people have heard from us. So it's I've lost track. It's been weeks. I mean, this whole crisis in the world has happened while we've been off air, so
I know, and it's been crazy. And actually, you know what? I did not write this in our notes, but I do have one more piece of surprise news for you, which you may be aware of, you may not. You ready?
Yeah.
Do you know what number of Tomorrow's Legends we are recording right now?
Oh, and this isn't our 100th. It wasn't some kind of anniversary episode, is it?
No, but it's close. This is episode 99.
Oh, all right. 99. Well, we better do some figuring it out off air here because episode 100 is a massive milestone. It's huge.
It is huge. But I have an on-air proposition. You can feel free to cut this out if you need to. We do our 100th episode like we normally would, and then we do a special 101, like a live or something, since we don't know after next week when our next show will air.
Okay. So I guess we have to wait to see if they suddenly release air dates for the next episode.
True, which could be a problem as well.
So you want to make episode 100 just a regular show and then follow it with a special, or?
I don't know. Let's think. We'll think. We'll do quick thinking, like Flash said.
Yeah, and we have to celebrate every time we've had any type of milestone. We've celebrated by holding a contest or doing something like that. So we'll have to come up with something to get people involved, and hopefully our fans want to be in on that with us and say, "Yay, you made it to 100!" Because that's a big step. I mean, in the TV world, to get to 100 episodes, that means that you go into syndication.
Yeah,
and it's a chance for the show to make residual money after it goes off the air, all kinds of stuff like that. So 100 is a massive step. So we should treat it the same for our podcast.
Yeah, no, I agree. We should definitely do something special. So I wanted to make sure, let you know. It's
cool.
Episode 99 today.
Cool. I didn't even look at it. It was not even in our title. So, all right, cool.
I know. Sorry.
And other than that, yeah, there really isn't a lot of news. I guess now that the show is back, things might start popping up. But we just want to remind everyone to also check out our Patreon page. Just look up Tomorrow's Legends at patreon.com, and there's different ways you can help support us and support the show. And if we're on video live, you would see this brand new microphone that I am now employing. That that does cost some funding for sure, but it's all out of our own pockets. This whole show is from us. So yeah, if you guys support us, it just tells us you love what we're doing, and we totally appreciate it. And I think that is it for that kind of chatter. We need to get into our impressions and ratings.
We sure do.
All right. What did you think of Zari and Zari?
All right. I gave this episode 7.5 Fates Cut Short. Now, I mentioned that I had a really hard time coming back to the show. I don't think it had anything really to do with the show, but just the overall my overall mindset. I'm getting over a cold. The world is literally falling apart and everybody's just like stressed to the max. So I think it was more my frame of mind, because I really did enjoy this episode a lot more once I got into it the second time around. So I think I just quite wasn't ready to get back into the groove. But then, once I had a little bit of time to let it settle and I watched it again, I did like it. They really did pack a lot into this episode though. So and it moved quick, like super quick. So I'm really interested to kind of see where the season goes from here, because we really do still have several episodes left. And I felt like they not really finalized a lot of things. They moved a whole lot of stuff along. So I'm just not sure where they go from here. I don't know. Tell me what you thought.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little surprised when I heard you're a bit out of sorts about it coming back. So, and then I was just shocked, because I thought, man, we've been so bummed out by not having our show. I remember when they first declared it's going on a hiatus due to the outbreak. I thought, why? We know the episodes are complete. Come on, you need to entertain your fans when they're all stuck at home. So I was excited to be back after the long quarantine. I think because I've been busy with the Star Wars podcast, it doesn't feel as long to me on one sense, but on the other sense, it's been a long time, because I don't know how many episodes of the other show I've done already while we've been away from Legends. So anyway, I was excited to get back, and this episode, it did deliver. I gave it 8.5 childhood photos. And
nice.
What a full episode. I mean, tons going on, but not really confusing or mixed up. I thought everything played out really well, and it flowed nicely, albeit, like you said, a very fast flow. This was not a gentle bubbling creek. This was a raging river.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And wow, to me, it's like the time sped up. I mean, we had a bit of a small jump, I think, as well. It just seemed like some time has passed since we last were third. Not a lot of time, like maybe a month or so, but just a little bit of time, because suddenly the plot and the season story arc really advanced as it's turning the corner to a totally different angle now. Just like last season did with their course correction midway through, when they completely changed their villain and the whole everything that was happening. I think that's what they've done this season, and I believe it's in our notes later on. We'll talk a little bit about their course correct, but that's the feeling I got with this episode. Like, holy cow, they did an about face and are going in a completely different direction real fast. And from the season trailer that was posted on our Facebook page, thank you to whoever did that. I forget who that was. It was Carrie or Dare Washington, I can't remember. It looks like a lot of fun stuff is coming. I like that Star Trek episode. Come on, that is awesome. Ava looks so good as the Vulcan. Just wow, it's going to be fun.
It'll be fun. It's always fun.
Yeah, I just hope. I'm hoping for so much better episodes and just better fun. And this episode to me is kind of a good indicator. If they could keep such a crazy episode all together and intact like that, where it was enjoyable, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see where they'll go. So we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah. Let's get into our talking points and kick this show off. So the first thing I just want to point out before we dive headlong into it is that they visited British Columbia, Canada.
They did.
And it's always nice when Canada gets put into a TV show, because not often sometimes you hear Montreal or whatever, the odd time you hear about Toronto, but you never, well, I guess Vancouver on these TV shows, Vancouver's mentioned quite a bit, but obviously budget wise, it makes sense because they're filming up here anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's where they're filming.
Let's just go off into the woods and film some scenes there. Okay, it's pretty cheap for them, but it was just nice. Anyway, wanted to start with that.
It was. No, yeah. I love that. As soon as they went to the map and said Vancouver, Canada, I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because that's where they filmed. But anyways, so all right. It seems that we're full steam ahead with this Fates storyline, which I like. It was confirmed, as we had speculated, that Astra's mentor is Lachesis. And then we were introduced to Atropos, who was that maniac killing everyone this week, is the only way I could put it.
Yeah, and we totally called that one because we were speculating she must be one of the sisters, and she is, which is very, very cool. And Atropos reminded me so much. I don't know if there's any of our listeners that are fans of the TV show Legend of the Seeker, one of the best fantasy shows of all time, swords and magic and all that kind of stuff. And from there, they have these characters called the Mord Sith. And Atropos looked exactly like one. I posted a little picture in our notes here. What do you think, Carly?
Oh my gosh, yeah. It looks like it was ripped exactly from that.
Yeah, exactly. So Legend of the Seeker, the Mord Sith, which was a group of warrior women that all wore red leather, and they basically protected whoever their master was. They could protect them, and amazing. Anyway, I'll post this picture on the Facebook page as well. But I was pretty shocked at the opening violence and the blood and the gore that we got. I mean, this show is, and I've probably said this, and probably sound like a broken record. It's no longer a family show, as we've mentioned so many times. It's scary. It's violent. They're covering all these dark themes all the time, and it's probably since Constantine has joined us as a result. But wow, it just shocked me with when that one girl at the concert gets stabbed right through the chest and blood splatters all over the other guy's face. Like, this is like a 14A kind of rating.
Yeah. No, it's not for the young or the faint of heart for sure. I'm with you there.
And just on a funny note, if I'm going to nitpick anything about this episode, I haven't even played. Let's play a nitpick.
Form of water.
It's very minor. Antropos's eyebrows were horrible. Like on the scale of Oliver Queen's bad wigs, horrible.
That's funny. What do you mean? Just like the way they were styled? Or
the fake coloring, the way they were slapped on top of whoever the actress's real eyebrows were. Like, you could tell they were stickered on, and this big, thick, bushy, and the dye job was awful. It was as bad as Oliver Queen's wigs. Boy, oh boy. So that's my nitpick for the episode.
That's pretty funny. Very funny.
All right. What do you got? You got something here too.
I did. Yeah. Okay. So I had a point that, so Lachesis specifically mentions this point. She says, without fate, the mortals are making a mess of their lives. So I like that, I guess we sort of predicted this, right? That the fates are big bad. So like, that's definitely where they're going with it. And I think like kind of based on, I don't know, I guess because of the ending of the episode, they didn't end up getting the two pieces of the loom, but I think they're going to try to maybe change our universe like once again, because they've talked about this before, that the loom, it can change things without changing the timeline, which makes no sense, but we'll just go with it. So I think they're trying to set us up for potentially another big change, and whether or not it'll affect more than just the Legends, I don't really know. Normally anything that happens on Legends doesn't affect the greater universe, like Flash and all of that, but I don't know. Yeah. I think they're definitely going for that.
We don't screw things up like Barry Allen does.
No, we screwed up for the better.
Yeah.
Apparently.
No, but we're totally spot on with our predictions and theories so far this season. We're calling all the shots, and I don't know if that means our show is predictable or the writing isn't strong enough to leave mystery for us to figure out. I don't know, but yeah, do you think that our universe will get changed? I'm kind of with you, but at one point I thought when Atropos had the 2 rings, I thought she was going to go for all 3 and then end up becoming our ultimate villain. And Charlie was going to have to team up with her other sister Lachesis and try to stop her together. I just sensed that Atropos was enjoying the power, and it was going to maybe overtake her, and she was going to like, oh, I'm going to get the 3rd ring and go on. And which leads me into my other point here, real quick. I mean, did it not feel like the Infinity Gauntlet to you from the Avengers?
Yes,
Like,
it did.
ultimate power over everything, which it could be a minor nitpick. It's like, really, if you really step back and think about it, it makes this for a very poorly conceived idea, not very creative Legends writers to have her put on the 2 rings and clasp her fist and the rings shine and she feels all powered up. I'm like, okay, it was fun, but come on, we've already seen it. Now, and so that's what I was thinking, is that she's going to maybe go for the ultimate power, but then, I don't know, maybe something can happen. Maybe with Bayrod drawing out the timeline, a la Cisco from The Flash, the way he did on the glass board there. I mean, that was a total call out to Cisco and how he always does it. You could be right. Maybe things will be rewritten again. I mean, why would they have that scene showing Bayrod drawing out the timelines, and when Zari entered and when the new Zari took over and when he entered the scene and he had it all written on the board there? Why would they show us that if they're not planning to fix it or change it or something? So you could be onto something there.
Yeah, and we're going to talk more about the timeline in the next section that I kind of have. But yeah, I definitely think that's kind of why I was leaning towards that, is they made a very big point of writing out the timelines and, calling her an echo or a time echo or whatever it was called. So I don't know. Well, yeah, that's kind of why I was leaning that direction. So we'll see.
Cool. We'll get back to it.
Okay. Well, I have a question, because I don't know. There could be a couple reasons for this, but how do we think Sarah survived Atropos?
When she got blasted by the beam of light and started melting from the inside?
Yes. Well, nothing really happened to her, so.
Other than being knocked out. See, I'm glad you made this point, because I love when you ask questions and I feel like I have an answer. Because I want to see if I'm correct here. But the way I see it, the way you saw Atropos be pretty surprised that Sarah survived, because she says, you saw my true form and you survived. I think, here's my theory, because it's been released in the news. I think this was a glimpse into Sarah's new superpower. I think this was a hint at it coming, at it being born, or however they're going to write that she gets it. Right. I think it, and I was trying to figure, okay, so if this is a glimpse into her superpower, what does that mean? Is she going to be gaining some type of invulnerability? Maybe. I wasn't thinking healing power. Can she just heal? No, I think something that would suit her more would be some type of invulnerability, because she's just been a hand-to-hand fighter. She's a combatant kind of character. So giving her some type of invulnerability, I think, would be suitable. So, I mean, that's my guess. Is I'd love to hear theories from other people, from our listeners, if they agree with that, and then maybe what they think her powers could be. That'll be something I'd love to get feedback on.
Yeah, for sure. So that could be a fun thing to theorize on. I mean, a few things that I saw people tossing out were that it was either related to the Lazarus pit and the fact that she's been brought back to life, which, to my knowledge, I don't think that gives you any sort of superpower.
You don't get regeneration capabilities.
Yeah, no, not unless you keep using it. And then the other one was having to do with the fact that she was a paragon, which I'm not really sure how that would tie in exactly.
Well, if she was a paragon, that could lead to a superpower being. I mean, when Oliver Queen rewrote the universe, maybe he gave her something. Maybe he gave all the paragons something. Maybe he realized she needs a little extra to survive the next whatever might come, big crisis event. So maybe he gave her something, because it was his option to rewrite the universe, so he did. That could be where she gets her power from. I mean, he loves Sarah. That's so
true.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love these ideas. You heard it here first. If one of those comes true, me and Harley just predicted it, because our predictions have been spot on so far.
So far,
let's see if we're right.
Doing pretty good this season. All right, so that'll be interesting. All right, I've got another thing. While we're on Atropos here. Mm-hmm. So she ultimately gets, I guess, quote, destroyed in the time stream, but I don't know. So I'm on the fence here. Either she was destroyed and it's like, okay, well, what was the point? Because now what? Or she wasn't destroyed because she can't be killed. So they're just going to keep coming after them, which I guess it has to be that. I don't know. It was a weird way to kind of get rid of her. What happens when someone falls into the time stream? Do you disappear? Well, do you just get tossed into some other time period? I don't remember. How does that happen?
Yeah, because I don't know. We haven't seen it happen a lot. The last one that comes to my mind is Nate's dad, right? When he gets sucked out. I don't know. I don't think they've really given us an answer what happens. I think we've seen someone survive it as well. So with Atropos, I mean, is she destroyed? I mean, she just flies out the cargo door, and if she's a god, I'm sure she can survive that and just end up on whatever time period that she lands in. Because, I think where we've seen it before is someone falls out and they ended up in whatever 1422, whatever the heck it was, because that just happens to be where they were in the time stream. So I think that's what happened to her, being her, that she's a god. She should be able to survive that, and wherever she lands, Lachesis would probably just come get her. Because that just felt too easy to me. If the Loom of Fate and these sisters are going to be the big bad, that just seemed too easy. I mean, yeah, the fight was a little bit tense. Her and Sarah were battling it out, and then Charlie had to come in and rescue her. It was a little bit intense, but it was also just a little bit on the easy side to get rid of her, considering throughout the episode we saw how hard it was to stop her. I mean, Sarah stabbed her in the chest. Sarah, she ran the sword right through her chest. Yeah. And then when she's swinging at her head, Atropos grabs the blade with her hand. It doesn't even faze her. So why now can Charlie come in and sever her hand? When previous strikes from Sarah did nothing. I don't understand. That's where I'm confused, which is a bit of a plot hole question I have. How can you sever her hand when a sword through the exact same sword through the chest does nothing? I don't understand that. And
I mean, the sword went in though, so I guess it just doesn't do anything because she can't be killed, I guess, because she's a god.
Yeah, but she also grabbed the blade when Sarah was full on swinging it at her head. She grabs it with her hand. It didn't cut through her hand either. So that's what I mean. A little bit of continuity error there for me. So this is what I'm not sure. So I'm positive she's not dead from that.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm leaning to. It was weird because of the effect. They had that like glowy like disappear effect, and I was like, what? That's odd. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know. You mean when she flew out the door and? Yeah,
and she like went in the flash of light, and then her hand like disappeared in a flash of light. I guess it's because she went to a different time period. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, well, confusing. I mean, she's a god, so maybe she's just some type of energy herself.
Oh, true.
I'm sure she'll come back. We've got, like you said, we got so many episodes to go. They're not killing off one of the sisters just like that. There's no way.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking. But
we're just making all these predictions. I'll see how many we get right.
I know. It was a good episode for theorizing. So, all right. I have an Easter egg that a few people had mentioned, and then they blatantly reference it within the show, which just always makes me giggle. But they filmed at part of the Supernatural set. Now, I've only watched the show here and there, but it just kills me whenever they reference the other CW shows like within their own universe. So it's kind of the second time they've done it this season. They mentioned Riverdale a few episodes ago, and now Supernatural. So I love it when they kind of bring that universe in, that even though they're in the Arrowverse, it's like they're still watching other quote CW shows. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll agree with you on that part. I mean, but just for me, I don't watch Riverdale or Supernatural, so it didn't really get me excited. I had heard the rumors about, crossover, Supernatural's going to be in this. And man, if I was a Supernatural fan, I'd be pretty damn disappointed that all you got was a car and the crew wearing some jackets with Supernatural badges on them. That's pretty lame crossover, if you ask me. But I do agree with you about the shows talking about other shows, because that's funny, because it's like they're trying to make it like ours is real life, and they're just watching the same TV shows that we watch. So that part of it is fun, yeah.
Yes, and that's what I love about it. So I liked that better than if they had tried to like bring Supernatural into the DC universe. That would not have worked for me, I don't think.
Well, I'm going to make another prediction here, because that whole sequence there with the zombies and stuff, I am betting if we have feedback from Patty Spivot, we're going to hear something about how she does not like that. Because as soon as that zombie laying on the ground opened his eyes and started moving, she covered her face. Nope, I'm not watching.
Oops, that's funny.
Pretty funny. Now, something I want to bring up here is with Constantine, John, his magic. He had some cool magic in this episode again. Nothing super flashy, but I love that necklace trick that he did when he absorbed the energy from the ring into his pendant, and the pendant then became a tracker, and it shot out a beam of light and was showing him, a spot on the map, and then that felt very Indiana Jones to me.
It did. Yeah, it did feel very Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And I also loved that when during the middle of the fight, he's like scrabbling around on the floor trying to find like a bunch of ingredients. That just made me laugh.
Yeah. All I need is blood. But then he licked it.
Oh, he always does. That's what he does this season. He licks everything gross. And
he's got no boundaries. Yeah. Ugh. But continuing to talk about him, I totally knew that wasn't him after the fight.
Me too.
I mean, you could just tell he had the look on his face, but what really gave it away to me is he was walking like a woman.
Yes, it was amazing. I loved the way he changed his posture and everything. It was so great.
So I don't know if there's anyone out there that really got fooled by that or not. Just the fact that he was staying in the background and he's watching them. I mean, it was pretty blatantly obvious, but whatever. It's still fun.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying him more this season than I have at all.
I'm enjoying him a lot this season. I mean, I think I've mostly been enjoying him because I just love Matt Ryan. Love what he does with that character.
Yeah,
but man, it's good.
They blew up the jump ship, and I'm trying to think, how many times have we lost the jump ship? Because they only have one. And so it surprised me. It blew up here, and I'm like, how can they easily replace those things? Because there's been a few that we've destroyed now, hasn't there?
I don't think so. Have we destroyed a few?
I think there's been a couple, and I think a couple times people have stolen them and never got them back. So where do they keep replacing the jump ship from? Does Gideon just make a new one appear? Like,
I guess we'll find out. I don't know. That's a good point. We'll have to see what they do with that this season.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool.
All right. Well, I think that's it for the quote main storyline, this Loom of Fate. Do you have any other points here? Or did we kind of cover it all?
No, I'm good. Let's move into some Zari talk.
Yeah. All right. Title of the episode: Zari, not Zari.
This really is more the main part of the story, I would say, seeing as how it was called that.
I know, but I felt like this Loom of Fate took up the most plot. Like the most time, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. Anyways, okay. Now this stuff we get to theorize a little bit. So I want to start with what I'm calling the Z point timeline.
Right.
I want to unpack this a little bit. All right. So Zari 1.0 is what we're calling a temporal echo. So let's just recap. At Hayworld, they completely changed the timeline.
By saving the world and giving Zari the child, like the child version of Zari, a different childhood because of the dragon.
Yes, which creates Zari 2.0, the celebrity, because of the dragon. She was always the center of attention, and it just launched her into this like celebrity status, and she just branded herself and just created herself as a brand, basically.
Right. And then she says, after the timeline crystallized, so any changes they made were temporary until it lasted a certain amount of time, like we've discussed on the show for the last 5 seasons about time needs to solidify or cement. So, okay, so she's used crystallize. So time had to crystallize. So once it did crystallize, then that new Zari became the real Zari. And the original Zari then gets thrown, this is where I get confused, gets thrown into the totem as a totem bearer. Does that mean all totems that have previous owners inside them, kind of like genies in a lamp?
That's hilarious and a really funny way to put it. And maybe, I don't know, that would be interesting to explore. But do you remember when they did this in the totem season, where I think it was before they combined to form Ultron, Voltron, Bebo, whatever it's called. I almost said Ultron, the wrong franchise. But didn't they didn't Amaya go and take like a trip to go visit her ancestors in her totem?
Oh, okay. So I didn't know if that was inside the totem. I thought she just went to another time period or into like a void of some kind to visit her grandma or whatever that was. I don't remember them specifying that was inside the totem.
It had to do, like, it was used the totem to connect it somehow because they used that same drug, the Layoga root or whatever, because that was the episode where Nate gets high. and it's hilarious.
Okay, well, yeah, you could be right. I don't remember fully, so.
So, yeah, I don't know that they're necessarily trapped inside the totem, or if maybe their essence is just kind of living inside the totem, or if the totem is just sort of like a gateway to connect them with like different planes of reality. There's a couple different ways you could kind of go with that. To me, it feels more like an astral plane, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the reason I said genie in a lamp is because look at it. She had one luxurious room with cushions and furniture, and it seemed like that was her new living space. And you know, I guess she does say something like, "I've been stuck in here." She
does, yeah.
Ever since, so
it felt I dream of Genie.
Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering, and that we'll talk about it a little bit more in our next couple of points, but. I was just curious if it's confusing. This little bit was a little confusing as they're trying to explain this away, because in our previous episodes, we were saying this doesn't make sense because it's a new timeline. This is the new Zari. There should not be any sense of her remembering the other timeline. They're two separate things completely. So how they're merging, she's starting to feel her and old Zari is kind of ghosting on her. It doesn't make sense. So I'm trying to figure out how they're explaining this.
Yeah, well, I've got some theories when we talk about Berad's death, because I think it's kind of all intertwined.
All right. I got some notes added to it, yeah.
All right, do you want to jump into that and then we could go back to our other points, or do you want to...
No, let's just go in order here. So you brought up Behrad, and we got a little note about him here too. Okay,
so they assume, like, when they're talking to Zari... So this is back, Zari 2.0 is kind of saying, oh my gosh, like, she's figured out that there's this other Zari and she's, super cool and you guys think she's great. She's a superhero and, she's kind of feeling down about herself. So when they're trying to figure out the whole timeline thing, like, him and Nate are just assuming that, like, Behrad is alive and that they shared the totem, hence the Wonder Twins reference, which is very much not the case, which she does learn. I mean, Zari 1.0 tells her what I think some of what happened, or at least that he wasn't alive.
Yeah, and in that whole sequence, Nate seemed to be remembering a lot more about Zari and their relationship and her powers and her helping them save the world. But it's funny how much he was remembering, but he wasn't cluing in that Behrad was never there at all. That they don't seem to be remembering that Behrad was dead. So
yeah, which I don't fully understand.
Yeah. Why are they remembering everything about Zari, but not about Behrad? This is why it's so confusing. It's like, you guys, I think, are writing yourself into a trap that you can't get out of. This one's a tough one.
It'll be interesting to see how they get out of it.
Yeah.
But there was a nice little nod, though, just before Zari meets herself that I liked. Just before she was going under, she says, "I surrender," which is the title of that little song. So I enjoyed that.
I didn't catch that the first time.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. And very timely because she had posted on her Instagram. I think 3 or 4 of us separately shared it in our Facebook group, the behind the scenes of them recording that song, which I still love.
Yeah, she's got a beautiful voice. Yeah.
She does. It's so great. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about Behrad and his death and all of this because...
Okay.
All right. I keep coming back to this point of his fate being cut short. I mean, literally. Atropos literally says, you don't belong here. No more defying fate. And then she pulls out his thread and cuts it, killing him. So, does this mean they're going to eventually restore the original timeline and potentially the original Zari?
Well, first, don't brush over that so fast, because wasn't that a total shock that what she did to Behrad? I mean, holy crap. She literally pulled his lifeline out of his chest and then cuts it so he dies. I mean, that was crazy. But
super crazy.
You know, but like you said, she knows he doesn't belong. This isn't the real timeline. He should have died long ago. Mm-hmm. So before I get to Behrad, I don't think the original Zari is coming back. And another prediction here. I don't think she's coming back. I think the feeling that I had when she was talking to herself in the genie lamp there was that that was a goodbye to the old Zari.
Yeah.
Because old Zari was asking about her family, asking about how everybody's doing. She learns that Behrad is a legend and best friends with Nate. And after getting all that information, she says she likes this version of her. She seems fun. And then she says, I'm good with it. And she said it in a very solemn, final moment kind of way, that the softness in her voice, and it's almost like she's resolute. I'm good with it. Like I'm accepting this situation. And then as she's walking away, she looks back and she waves goodbye. And that to me wasn't just a goodbye to the new Zari. I think that was a goodbye to us, the fans, to the viewers. Goodbye, old Zari.
Yeah.
And I think that was it. I think that's the last we're going to see her. I think she's going to continue to share the existence with new Zari, you know, maybe ghosting her and whatever, and teaching her new things. We're going to keep seeing new Zari awakening, kind of unlocking all her skills, like a video game, because they keep bringing the video game back thing, or the video game thing back. She's unlocking her skills eventually, and like we saw in the video game scene here, when she gets handed the controller, she suddenly kicks Behrad's ass. Because we know Zari is a great video game player. So I think things like that are going to continue to happen. But I am almost 100% sure this was a goodbye to old Zari. And we're going to be stuck with this version of her now.
Yeah, I think this version's going to mellow a little bit, because I think the death of the brother is going to... I think it's going to change her. I think we're going to get a Zari 3.0.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping
or it's a mix.
Exactly. Tamed down enough that there'll be... Because at the end, and this kind of rolls right into my next point, but at the end, she very much felt more like the original Zari, the old Zari, when she's confronting Constantine and telling him that her brother's dead and that he needs to help her at all costs. That felt very much old Zari.
Yeah, it felt...
So I feel like there's going to be a
Zari
blending.
with old Zari confidence to stand up for what she, you know, and be aggressive and be, so that, I get you there for sure. Yeah, I want to ask you though, like I'm enjoying the new Zari, but I still miss the old Zari. And when she showed up in that room in her blue jeans and her jacket and she was talking normally, I miss Zari so much. I miss that version of her. I hope if they're going to absorb the two of them, I hope the new Zari takes on a lot more of that. And like you said, loosens up a little bit. Like, 'cause Zari was one of my favorite characters, my top 2 for sure. And I missed that. I'm really upset that they took that away and they've changed her so drastically much.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens, but yeah.
Yeah. We'll just have to see what happens. But okay. So I'm trying to figure out how this forced alliance with Constantine is going to work. So she's basically saying, I'm with you all the time until you bring Behrad back, basically, with the Loom of Fate. So, like, who's going to win, Astra or Behrad? Or can Constantine restore them both? Is this like an all or nothing kind of deal? I don't think I understand how this Loom of Fate's supposed to work.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they will save Behrad. I mean, this seemed to be his shocking end to me. I don't think he was winning. I mean, you've heard me talk about him. Well, we both talked about him, how you've liked his humor, but
yeah,
I don't think he's winning any fans over too much. I have not seen any chatter about him. I don't see anyone posting anything about him on social media that they love him like they do with Nate or Ray or Sarah. I have not seen anything about him, so I don't think his character was winning any fans over. So I think they're kind of writing him out. That's like, okay, we've had you for a little bit, but it's not really fulfilling whatever role they were hoping for him. And me personally, I never felt any connection to him at all. He's been okay, but even though it was shocking, I didn't really feel much for losing him. I was sad more for Zari when we saw her crying over him being dead. That affected me. That brought tears to my eyes, was seeing her reaction. But just seeing him die and everything, it was a shock. But I was, I'm not going to miss him. It's not a big deal to me. It's like everything that we were saying before about how he got thrown in our faces and we were just expected to know him and expected to just love him because he's replacing Zari. Never worked for me. So
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I liked the actor and I liked kind of what he was doing, but I hadn't had enough time to really bond with him as a character. But yeah, I definitely felt more for Zari and her reaction to his death than being, than my like own reaction to the character death, I guess.
So I'm guessing maybe what they'll do, well, it depends on how many, if these episodes are all done already. I was going to say maybe they're going to wait for fan reaction to his death to decide if they want to bring him back or not. But
yeah, because all of these, that was the other thing, is that all of these have already been written and produced well before anything started airing. So yeah.
The question I have, though, is what was that at the end when, he was laying on the ground dead, Zari's crying, and she's got Sarah and Ava on either side of her consoling her. And then one by one, everyone's disappearing. And all of a sudden, she's all alone. Now, at the first watch, I was like, what is happening? Is her timeline being erased as we're watching it? What's going on here? And then I thought, maybe it's just that she's so distraught. She's just sitting there. Time has passed by, and one by one, they've left her to deal with her emotions. I'm assuming that's probably what it was. Just
yeah,
the passage of time.
I think it was just the passage of time. That's where I was going with it. But
it was weird, though.
It was
like
weird.
Timelines changing as we were watching it or something.
Because they've used a similar effect for erasing people, which I think is why. But yeah, I think it was just supposed to be the passing of time, not the literal erasage of time, if you will. But erasure, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Weird. Yeah, that's really all I got to say of Zari. I think this is the new version. She's going to continue to change, mix the two up a little bit, but that's who we got.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And Behrad's dead. I'm going to guess he's not coming back, but he might.
We'll just have to see what they do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here is the last little storyline. Not a whole lot of meat, but let's talk about Mick Daddy for a little bit.
Mick Daddy. Yes.
I felt it was a cute distraction. It wasn't very substantive. And when I felt like a lot of stuff was shoved into this episode, these were the parts that felt, quote, shoved in. They were enjoyable, but it was kind of like a distraction from the craziness and the darkness, I guess, of the other two storylines.
Yeah.
So I think my favorite part was the Halloween costumes with her as Captain Cold. I thought you would love that.
Did I not call it? I am claiming I was right now. Lita does become his sidekick as Captain Cold. You can't take that one from me. I was right.
It was a Halloween costume.
It doesn't matter. She had the cold gun. That was the
sure
actual
did.
cold gun. She was wearing the parka that was too big for her.
Yeah.
He was happy. He was proud. He was in his full-on heat wave outfit. That they were sidekicks for a moment.
Oh dear.
I called it.
Fine. Fine.
It could leak into possible future. I mean, I'm just going to go right into it. And this is his new storyline, I think, for this half of the season. Mick wasn't even part of the mission at all.
Nope.
So I can see it either ending in her joining the team or him leaving the team to raise her properly. I don't know. I hope not. It's just the way that they've separated him so much from the main storyline and from the Legends team, that this is what I think we're going to get for Mick for most of the season now.
Yeah, I kind of think so too.
Yeah. Now, I liked Ava and Mick together. I think they're actually really good on screen together. They really work. They got a good chemistry together. And I like that Mick seems to listen to her. Everyone else he kind of argues with. Or
True.
gets really, but when Ava talks, he just thinks about what she says before he reacts. And they're good together.
Yeah, they've kind of come to a good mutual understanding of each other. They didn't like each other at first, but I think they've come around.
Yeah.
When she was first introduced, they didn't get along.
No, Mick going through his daughter's life, inserting himself into it. I actually thought it was a good plan. I said, this could work. Why not? He's going through all the big moments of her life and making sure he's there so that she has memories of him being there. It should have worked. I don't know why it didn't work in the end. It should have worked. I was a little confused when she's like, you kept walking out on me. Why? What do you mean? He'd be there for the big moment and then leave?
Yeah, which is probably exactly how it felt to her, because he's just hopping through all these points of time.
Yeah.
So to him, it just feels like one continuous thing, whereas to her, it's like he's there one moment, gone the next for years, or at least a year. And then, to her point, in 2015, well, you weren't in prison anymore. So where were you? Can't very well say, well, I've been time traveling for the last 5 years. He should,
though. He should.
I think that's coming. I'd be surprised if it doesn't.
Exactly. Now, my favorite part of that whole sequence, though, was when the Tooth Fairy leaves a stack of cash under the pillow and she pulls it out. She's, whoa.
That was very funny.
That made me laugh. That's perfect, Mick. Yeah.
The Victorian England, the Victorian collection Pottery Barn bed or crib. That was pretty funny.
That's good stuff. I just have a feeling there's going to be more for it, because there's something. I see chemistry on screen between Mick and the actress playing his daughter. There is a spark between those two. So I think they're going to make more of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's definitely going to be a big part of his story for sure. I think it's going to continue to be our subplot for the season.
Now, I want to bring something up that's not in the notes here. I just remembered it. Mick brought up the clone thing to Ava.
He did. Yeah. It does keep coming up.
And she's upset when she hears it, but he brings it up and she says a little something about it. And I'm wondering, okay, they brought it up. Does that mean can that possibly mean they'll come back to that storyline like we're hoping?
I hope so. We'll just have to see. They do keep bringing it up, which means they haven't forgotten about it.
Yeah.
So that could either be one of two things. One, they could just be doing that for fan service to be like, hey, we haven't forgotten about it. We recognize that this is what she is. But I don't know. It'd be nice if they do explore it a little more.
Totally would.
So we'll see.
Now, did you notice right in the beginning, our opening title sequence, they've already taken Ray out of it?
Ooh, I did not notice that. I thought it looked a little different, though. That's why.
The whole sequence is there, but little Ray in his Atom suit is not there. It's out. It's gone.
Ouch.
Yeah. And he barely gets
but...
mentioned by Sarah this episode, too. Like, she's the only one that says his name.
Yeah. Well,
and that's it.
They're gone.
Yeah. Take him out of the title sequence already. Jeez.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I didn't think about it. I didn't notice it, but that's crazy.
Yeah. I also liked Gideon in this episode. She was more in the first half of the episode, but she was funny, snarky, and really a defiant attitude.
The snooze button. God, that just made me laugh. Snooze gadget.
Yeah. She was pretty funny. I enjoyed this episode. I hope they bring her in a lot more. And some of our fans have said, just please give her an avatar to walk around in. Make her a main character on the show, or a main person of the crew or the team. She's proven herself valuable. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We'll see what they do with it.
All right. Well, and that's all we got for talking points, really. But you do have this one last little thing here about, and this comes back to our course correction, which I think is what's happening. So what do you got here?
Yeah, well, we had a running encore checklist, which I've kept in our notes in case I guess we need it for the rest of the season, but I don't know that we do. So I've kind of kept hold of it, but I don't know that they're really going to come back to it. So if they do, at least it's in our notes. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, exactly. There was no talk about encores at all, and I think this is a massive course correction midway through the season. Because it wasn't working. The encore story was not working. So they're going to boot it out real fast and take a hard right turn into a different plot line. They've done it before, and I think they're doing it again here. It's like, ooh, this is not getting good reaction. This isn't working. Maybe the writers sensed it. I don't know. But, and I'm glad. I mean, a couple of the encores were fine. It was enjoyable, but it wasn't working. I like this new twist. I like the idea. I love the history of it, the possibilities of it. The Loom of Fate is a really good, it's a good consequence to have. It's a good, edge of your seat. Oh my God, can you imagine if the sisters get all three? It's going to screw everything up. But this is a good overall story, like we've talked about, to last the entire rest of the season. Yeah,
that's true. True. So I don't know. It's just weird because they don't have anything to like gauge any sort of reaction on. So I guess that maybe they just either fizzled out on it, or maybe this really was the plan the whole time. But who knows?
Maybe, yeah.
Or maybe it just became the plan because they were writing it and felt they weren't, coming up with stuff and just changed.
Well, they shot themselves in the foot by not even continually wasting encore slots with ones that we never saw. So
yeah, I know it was a little weird. So
all right, well let's move on into our fan favorite section, quote of the week.
Shape out an eagle.
And it has been a while. I wonder if anybody even remembers what our quotes were from the last episode, because I even had it deleted out of the soundboard here. I had to reinsert them when I saw you put in what the winners were. So
yeah. Well, I guess let's start off with our funny quote. Our winner was called Slippery Captain.
I cannot believe you guys. I put you in charge of the mission and you lied to me. You lied to me. So why you could go party?
That's what we should have done. We should have waited for Ray and Nora to come back from their honeymoon and throw one big party. My bad, buddy.
Yeah, and guess what? We're well on our way to assembling the loom.
But you're right, Sarah. I really should have insisted that we come back to the ship sooner.
Yeah.
Tybalt draws a sword on Mercutio, but Mercutio turns to steel? What?
Well, thanks to you guys and your stupid party, this mission is not over.
With another swing, Tybalt stabs Mercutio. I am hurt. Why don't you just steal up again, stupid Mercutio?
This is the least of our worries. We need to get out there and fix history.
What's that?
History. Time. We gotta fix time.
Une question, le capitaine?
What?
Are you sloshed?
Follow-up question, why is there glitter on your face?
Yeah, Sarah was pretty awesome in that. Do you not understand? Like, she's just such a good performance.
It was a great performance, and I love just like Nate. He's making fun of his own character, which just makes me so happy.
That episode was really good. I really enjoyed that.
It was a very good episode.
So, yeah.
That was a very good one.
All right. Well, what do you got from us for this episode?
Look, this was really hard to find funny, so I did my best here. So I'm sorry if these aren't the greatest, but the first one I came up with is called Hall Pass.
Pretty simple.
Huh. That's cool. Looks like supernatural filming here.
Super what? You've never seen it? It's the show about these two hot brothers who fight demons. I wonder if the Winchester brothers are here. Seriously.
Dean's my hall pass.
He is hot.
Coming from a girl that likes other girls, that's funny.
Yeah, she is bisexual.
That's true.
No.
Awesome.
I'm with her on Dean.
See, I can't even picture what they look like. So
I have watched enough, and They're some good-looking men. I'm just telling you.
That's probably why they're going on 15 seasons, right?
Might have something to do with it.
Yeah. All right, what's your second one?
It is called Donuts and Cuddles.
Whoa, did you just beat me?
Barrod, I don't know how to play video games. But it's like I'm being haunted by someone who dresses like a teenage boy and makes me do awful things like eat donuts and cuddle with Nate.
I love the quiver in her voice there. It's pretty funny.
I know. Who dresses like a teenage boy?
Tala Ash is just one of my favorites. Her and Ava, those two characters are easily my favorite for the comedy side and the way their performance is so much fun.
Yes, they are like the best people in the world. I love them.
Yes. I wish we could get voice clips from them.
I know. Well, maybe we can figure out a way to do it. All right. Let's move into our serious scenes. Let's bring some stuff down since this whole episode was like super serious. So, what do you got for us here?
Well,
you're gonna gut wrench us first.
Yeah, like we remembering funny moments, and now we got to pull the rug out from under us because this was one of the saddest moments we've had on our show in a long time. The winning quote was, "All bromances must end."
Listen. He's gone.
Nate! I'm still here, buddy. Ray, I am so sorry I lashed out at you. It was just a lot to process, and I don't know how to say it. The thing is, I'm just really sad. But I'm really happy for you guys.
I'm sorry that you found out the way you did. And I wish there was some way that everything and nothing could change all at once.
This sucks. But I love you. This totally sucks. But I love you too.
Sad
I
face.
miss Ray already a lot.
Nice.
The good thing about that scene is I recently saw people are still talking about it. There's this wonderful, I wonder if I can find it again and I'll post on the Facebook page. There was this wonderful article about how powerful that scene was and how great it was to show that two men can express feelings towards each other and say they love each other. That just doesn't happen really, even in today's world still.
Yeah, that's true.
And
yeah.
It was just great to show these two strong characters be able to do that and that it's okay. And it's a wonder. It was a wonderful write-up, and I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was well acted. I loved it.
Yeah,
it probably wasn't even all that acted.
No, yeah.
I mean, it was, but not really, because they were able to pull on those very real emotions.
Yes. All right. Well, my dramatic scenes for this episode. I'm going to kick it off with the first one, which is called No Shortcuts.
Rory, listen to me. We can fix this.
No, we can't.
Yes, we can. Look, I made a mistake and I feel really bad, but that doesn't give us the right to keep hurting Lita any more than we already have, right?
Maybe it's not about the gifts and the money and the big birthday parties, I think it's time that you go back in there and do what we should have done from the beginning.
Go back and kick myself in the...
No. Just go tell her you're sorry.
Guess you're right. No shortcuts.
See, I like that scene because I really love those two together, but Mick's he's changing. He is, I think having a daughter has affected him in a way we've never seen him be affected before. He's listening to Ava, he's thinking things over, and he's trying. It's just a good scene. I just like this for Mick, and I like that it's opening things up for him a little bit.
Yeah. No, I love that scene. And actually, I wanted to see the next scene with him and his daughter. So I felt kind of gypped that we didn't get that. I mean, I know we had a lot to pack into this episode, but I wanted to see that. Yeah.
Maybe we'll. Maybe they'll focus that, on that for another episode. We'll see.
Maybe.
All right. Well, the next one I have it's all about Zari. I called it Something Old, Something New. And I actually strung together a few parts of Zari to make this clip because it's her talking to herself, which I think it gave us a lot of information. It answered a lot of things of what's happening with Zari, even though it confused us. And, it's just it's the scenes where she's talking to herself and her old self, or her new self, I should say, is making sure that she's good enough. And old Zari's trying to reassure her and basically tell her that she's okay with how everything turned out.
So if you're here, does that mean Mama and Baba Behrad?
Oh, but he's back on the wave rider. Who do you think gave me the drugs?
He's alive.
Yeah, of course. Mama and Baba, too. Are you okay?
Yeah.
So why are you even asking me about Behrad? I thought this was about me and the strange visions I've been having.
Wow. The new me came out shockingly self-absorbed.
Who are you calling the new you? Who even are you?
Well, you. If the legends hadn't saved the world and you grew up in dystopian Seattle, once the timeline crystallized, you were out in the real world, and I was thrown in here with the rest of the totem bearers.
Wait, does that mean Nate was right? Are you the cooler me? Ugh.
We have a lot to talk about. So, how are things with Nate?
Good, yeah, super cool.
Weird to feel jealous of myself.
Well, don't be too jealous.
Sorry, are you not together?
I mean, he's my brother's best friend. It would be weird.
Sorry, he and Barrett are friends?
They have this ridiculous handshake. It's sweet.
Barrett, a legend. I wish I could see that.
You must be disappointed.
Yeah, I was hoping Totem Town would have a few video games.
No, I mean disappointed in me.
Why?
I mean, you were a superhero who wielded a totem and saved the world. Twice. I'm just a failed cat chat celebrity.
My family's alive. And you actually seem like a lot of fun. I'm good with it.
There, see? I think that's final.
Whatever. I can still have some hope. There might be more of a blending of the two.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm with you there for sure. But it was definitely old Zari saying goodbye, and I think that's why we also got so much of her too. So
yeah.
But nice moment to have with herself. It's kind of crazy. Can you imagine talking to yourself like that? And
yeah, no, that would be weird. That would be super weird. I don't really know what I would do with that. Maybe that's how I feel when I listen back to our podcast. Like I'm kind of talking to myself.
Yeah, maybe. Should say hi to yourself.
No, that's too weird. I can't even like bring myself to do it, even like a joking fashion. Let's move on.
Listen up, Flash. Next time you record, make sure you speak a little better. Come on now. All right, let's get into our feedback and see what our fans had to say.
Holy Twin Powers, activate!
All right, let's kick it off with an email from Daryl Washington, and he says, a great episode to come back with. I loved all the plots for the most part. I love seeing Mick and Ava be friends after they had such a rough start in the beginning. Did anyone else get Arrow flashbacks when Sarah cut off the Fate's sister's arm? That sister scarred me a lot. Every time she showed up, the song Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads popped in my brain. I love the highlight reel for Mick and Lita. It was so adorable. Mick will get himself a Captain Cold one way or the other. Yes. Is the Behrad character only contracted for this season? Seeing him die was surprising, but I'm not quite worried they won't bring him back yet. I loved seeing two Zaris on my screen, though I wish Zari 1.0 had been wearing her flannel. I saw the trailer for the rest of the season, and I have to say it could have been the trailer for an entire season, not just the back half one. I still really want to know where Zari's dragon is. I don't understand how Charlie is still immortal, even after getting her shape-shifting powers back. Her shape-shifting powers made her immortal. John took them away, but then later, when she gets them back, she is still immortal. And that's from Daryl. Yeah, you're right on same line as me. Don't really miss Bayrod, even though it was a shock. And yes, the Mick and Leah stuff was great. Yeah, I'm with you about Zari too. Her jeans and flannel shirt, that's Zari to me. That's the character I fell in love with. And it's such a hard shift to go to this self-centered social media mogul version of her. So I'm with Harley that I hope there's a good enough melding of the two that we do get some of the old Zari back for sure. But I don't know. What do you think of his questions here? Anything?
I don't know about Barad. I think the actor's name is Cheyenne something. I can't remember the last name, but I don't know what his contract really says. So I haven't heard anything. They don't usually announce things like that.
No.
Until like a season is over. So I don't really know. I mean, I was surprised that he died, but I don't know. I think I'm somewhere in between the two of you. I'm not, or maybe I'm more with Daryl. I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced he's dead, but I'm not 100% convinced he's coming back either. So I don't know. I'm kind of like somewhere in there.
What's this idea about the dragon though? Why do you think you think that's just something that's to be written off? Whatever. That's what started her new life. Now the dragon grew up. She obviously had to get rid of it. It's gone.
That's kind of where I feel like they're going with it, even though I kind of wish we'd learned more about it. But it may just be like that Zari just fills in little like bits and pieces as the season goes on. I'd be surprised if we actually saw it.
Okay, and what about Charlie and her powers? I didn't actually think too heavily about that.
I am with you guys. It's very confusing. She has shape-shifting powers, but she's not a god anymore. But when did she not become a god? Because I don't think that's what John took away from her. He took away her shape-shifting abilities, but now she has them back. I don't understand what's going on with Charlie at all. I got nothing. It's very confusing. They've clearly stated she's mortal. Clearly.
Yeah. I mean, that was brutal too when Atropos had the two daggers in both shoulders, and when she was trying to pry her hand open and she wasn't letting go, and she just grabs the one and starts twisting it, forcing her hand open. I'm like, geez, this is brutal. Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Tough stuff. Cool, Daryl. Well, thank you for that. Moving on, it's an email from ArcPhase 2.0.
He says, greetings, Wonder Twins. I liked that we got to see the setting in British Columbia, Canada this time. And of course, mentions of Supernatural and their final season 15. Not sure if anyone else watches it here, but seeing their trademark Impala got me excited. I wish there were more to the crossover, perhaps even had actors showing up. Yeah.
Yep. Told you.
Probably not. But I did wonder why Sarah took their bag of weapons. Since she knew it was a show, those would have been props and not real, except the ninja stars. That's kind of a good point.
That is a good point, because she was throwing those things left and right and doing some damage. So
she sure was. So I don't know. I don't know how you make a ninja star, I guess, like not pointy and lethal, but
it's made out of tinfoil. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of a good point. Anyways, the immediate reveal of the identity of Astra's ward being one of the fates happened kind of fast. I would have thought there would be a bit more of a build-up. I don't think so. We pretty much nailed it at the end of, if we were guessing it, I don't think it was far behind. I felt pretty validated.
And so I say, I think there's a bit of a very small time jump too, it just seemed like.
Yeah. But considering she created the soul coins in hell, it would explain her role as a fate. Yes, which I believe is what led to my theory in the first place. Was it my theory? Our theory? Anyways.
Yeah.
Also, seeing as how she is holding onto Constantine's coin, the fates will always be able to find the legends anywhere or anytime they go. Yes, as long as they come into an actual time and an actual where, they can get to them. It's when they're in the time stream that they can't.
Yeah, that's very true. Very good point.
Yeah. it was surprising because Atropos finds them when they're in the real world, and the Wave Rider has to come and pick them up, and that's the whole reason she gets on board. That's why Sarah wanted to take off and get into the temporal zone and the time stream.
Right.
So they could get rid of her. Anyways, I lost my place. It was, okay, I think I found it. It was surprising that the second piece of the loom was a ring, since Charlie had supposedly destroyed the loom. I think she said that they're all rings, that she had to disguise them all as rings because they would melt someone's face off or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember the details of that exactly, but
yeah. So he says, did she consider splitting the rings up in time and space considered to be destroying the loom? Yeah, so she destroyed the loom and split it into 3 pieces and then disguised them as rings so that she could hide them on the mortal realms. Now, they were supposed to be in different scattered across the multiverse, and then obviously the collapse brought everything together.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes. And so he says, and I would assume the final piece would be a ring as well. Yes, you are correct. With the ring's ability to find one another, it's making finding the final piece very easy.
Yeah, but there seems to be a proximity effect, I think.
I think it was more proximity, and I think the fact that Atropos or Lachesis are going to be the only ones able to wear it, right? Because they're the gods,
right.
Or can anybody wield it? That's what's confusing.
Yeah. I think only them, because they're the ones who created it, so they're probably the only ones that can use it, would be my guess.
But then John seems to think he'll be able to use it. So, or does Charlie have to do it? I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll find out. All right. I wasn't expecting Barad to die at all, but with his death, does that mean he joined Zari 1.0 in Totem Town since he was one of the bearers of the Wind Totem? Oh, I don't know. That's a good theory.
Well, then she could hang out with her brother, who has been dead for a very long time for her.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully now that the 2 Zaris got to meet, Zari 2.0 will start to become a new Zari, Zari 3.0. Yes, he's with me.
Yep.
Maybe she'll be able to talk to her brother in Totem Town too. But anyways, it does seem like she wants to use the loom herself to revive Barad. I feel like there may be some kind of sacrifice or trade-off that they will have to make in order to bring Astra's mother and Barad back. Perhaps in the end, the loom ends up being damaged or destroyed and having enough power to bring only one person back. That was kind of where my question was going.
Yeah.
Is there a choice? Can they bring them both back? Like, how does this work?
Or it's the loom of fate, and it's got endless power, and it can do whatever the heck they want.
Yeah, which does kind of seem to be where they're going with it, but we'll see. All right, one of the things that wasn't touched on was how Sarah was able to survive being attacked by Atropos. I don't recall anything that could have allowed her to survive. Could there be other effects from being revived by the Lazarus pit that we don't know of?
Well, you heard my theory.
Yeah.
Superpowers are coming to light.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you there. Considering there are many other Arrowverse characters who have been brought back by the pit, none showed anything involving immunity to magic or godly attacks that we know of. Very, very true.
Yeah. Superpowers, that's my guess.
Yeah, let's see what to expect for next week. If they find the final piece too quickly, I wonder what the rest of the season will be about. Yes, exactly. Regards, Arc-based version 2.0. Are you going to become version 3.0 if we get Zari 3.0?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, I think they're going to find it. What I was expecting this episode is that she was going to get all 3, like I said, be the ultimate villain. So I have a feeling that there still might be a dark downturn that the good guys won't get all the rings yet. It's going to have to bring it to a final,
something.
A big final moment where they don't have the rings and they've got one last chance to get them all.
Yeah.
Something like that. So we've got quite a few episodes to figure that all out and see what they're doing with it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to do something. Like I said, there's a bunch to go.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, ArcPhase, for that. And next up is a voicemail from Patty Spivot.
Hey, Flash and Harley, it's Patty Spivot calling in. So great to have Legends back on TV. I missed having them. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this season ending. And it's good to have you guys back, of course. So funny, I was thinking about this episode, and I didn't really do any recap or anything. I'm just going off my total memory of watching. But I hadn't really thought much about Barad before. this episode. He was just kind of there, and he was just kind of replacing Zari, and everyone missed Zari so much. I know there was a little bit of resistance maybe to the new character, but they absolutely, through the course of this episode, made me care about him. I really enjoyed watching the Zaris talk about him, and I developed sort of caring about him as a new character, and his relationship with Nate and everything was kind of great. And he had a little bit more screen time to show off his personality a little bit more. And I was like, oh, this guy's good. And then they freaking kill him. Like, what the? I couldn't believe that they did that. So now I'm kind of super bummed. I don't even know what to say. Like, he went from sort of a add-on to I'm sad. So I'm sure you guys are going to talk all about that, but I just wanted to call in and say that they just have such a knack for doing this. The other thing I wanted to just touch on was I want to know why you guys think Charlie's sister, the light lady, I can't remember her name all of a sudden, how come she couldn't kill Constantine or Sarah? What's the deal there? They're not superheroes. I'm wondering if they're going to reveal that in the next episode, or what do you guys think happened there? Yeah. Other than that, that's it. Talk to you later. Looking forward to the podcast. Bye, guys.
Wow, we have a Bayrod fan.
We do. The one and only. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he's been fine. But I think the idea that the writers wanted to get across is exactly Patty Spivet's reaction. They wanted to build him up to make you start to care for him, only to pull the rug out from under your feet and shock you with it.
Yeah, I agree. So, it was shocking, 100%.
Yeah, but it obviously worked for a fan like Patty Spivet. It worked for her. They got the reaction they wanted, and now we'll see what happens with her. Now, we did talk about our possibilities why we think Sarah survived the attack. Now, we didn't talk about John, because John did get left for dead. She stabbed him twice.
She stabbed him.
And he was bleeding out a lot, because there was a lot of blood filling up the creek there.
Well,
that the creek was running red, right?
Yeah, but he had that thing on his chest, and he does say the forest is a natural apothecary, if you will.
There you go. There's the answer. I don't know if he did that before the fight or if he did that as he was dying, but he obviously got something into his system to help him survive the attack.
Yep, I would agree.
That's your answer there.
He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
Exactly. A lot of tricks and a lot of herbs and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Awesome, Patty. So thank you for that. And our last email is from Kerry Johnson. And he says, obviously, using encores was the hook that Legends needed to use to get folks interested in this season. Popular/historic villains screwing with the timeline is an easier sell to an audience and higher-ups, in my opinion. So I understand why the first part of the season focused on that. Using Constantine and the Loom story as the B-plot for most episodes was also a good call. While Constantine is a great character, it would have been a mistake to jump right into his story and Charlie's story from the get-go. A slow burn proved that both A plot and B plot, while early on seemed disjointed, provided a more organic and satisfying way to bring the story together and put us on this one, cohesive plot that we now have. Stray observations. While a truncated season meant we didn't get more background on the two Fate sisters, having one be connected to Astra provided enough depth for her Lachesis introduction. And the horror/massacre introduction for Atropos told us everything we needed to know about her. She's powerful, sadistic, and really good at her job. I think we all saw Bayrod's death coming, at least it was heroic. However, with the introduction of the totem zone full of ancestors, are we to assume that's where Bayrod will go and wind up with OG Zari? But that's a couple times people thought, I didn't even think of that.
I didn't either, to be honest.
Interesting. It could be a nice fitting end to OG Zari that she gets to be with her brother, because her when she got introduced to us, her entire mission was to save her brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she was doing that. So that could be a nice way to tie that up. Interesting. All right. Why did Sarah die? Or why didn't Sarah die? Is it because she's been dead before? Or is it because she's a paragon of destiny? Or is it because she's too awesome to die? Probably all of the above. Yeah, see, everyone's hitting on that. And let's just see if it's a superpower emerging. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's the most likely.
I really love that Ava's first reaction to Mick was to go help him with his daughter. It shows continued growth for her character in that Ava wants to help him make a better connection with his daughter. Based on Sarah's own relationship with her dad, I'm surprised she hasn't taken a more supportive role in his efforts. Maybe she will later on. Interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
While I hate that Ray and Nora are gone, it does provide a tighter focus for episodes. If that was part of the reason, though, they could have just gotten rid of Mona, Bayrod, and Charlie. Yes. Yes, Carrie, yes. Charlie's saving grace now, though, is the Loom story.
Yes.
So is the Wave Rider just parked in present-day Central City? And if so, exactly where in the city might it be? And is the public totally aware of it and it's just normal? Finally, where the hell is Gary? By the way, I totally love this episode. I give it 8 Winchester Impalas out of 10. Yeah, okay. So Wave Rider parked in Central City. I don't know. Is it? Is that where they always go? Is that their main base of operations when they're not going anywhere? I thought they just float around the time stream.
I don't think so. They're always. I'm pretty sure they stay in the temporal zone when they're not going anywhere. When were they in Central City? I think Mick was in Central City. They always anchor themselves in our present for the show.
That's true.
They always, you know what I mean?
Well, and Ava's got the portal watch that opens doors so they can go wherever the heck they want, so they don't need the ship. So
yeah, exactly. Although I did really like when a couple episodes back when they played with Gary, 2018 Gary being like, it's present day, it's 2018, and they're like, oh, okay. So that was kind of fun. That kind of turned it on its head a little bit.
Very true. But where is Gary? I get. Well, he's not always been in every episode.
That's true.
It's just they'll bring him in and out. I don't think he's regular. I don't think he's been bumped up to regular status or full status. So
I don't either, but he is kind of just floating out in the middle of nowhere. It would at least a mention of Gary's, Constantine sent him off on some errand or something.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, he's out researching, getting information. He's doing his apprentice due diligence, his duties.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to see. Hopefully they mention him or he shows up next week.
Too fun. All right, guys. Well, thanks for all that fantastic feedback. I'm glad you guys are back with us. I was wondering after this long of a hiatus that we might not get our fans back, but they're with us because there's not much superhero TV on right now, really. So
no, there's not at all.
Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, to continue sending in feedback, this is what you got to do.
If you would like to be a part of the show, you can send in your feedback to tomorrowslegends@gmail.com. That's spelled with 1 R. You can also reach us on Twitter @tomorrowslegends, also with 1 R. We'd love you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/tomorrowslegends and become part of the community.
And that wraps us up for our comeback episode.
It sure does. We'll have to see where they go from here.
Do you feel better now? Was that good? That gets you back in the rhythm?
Yes.
I saw the smiles coming across your face as we went along, so I could see you changing. Maybe you're doing a little shape-shifting. I don't know.
Maybe. Or maybe I'm just, turned on my podcasting persona.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. So as soon as we shut off here, we'll be back to Grumpy Harley.
Of course. No, I'm just kidding.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for being back with us. Just remember to reach out to us. Feedback is tomorrowslegends@gmail.com and @tomorrowslegends is our Twitter handle. And please remember. Yeah, forget all about my other Star Wars show, but if you guys are watching the Clone Wars, come check out The Mandalore. We are doing Clone Wars coverage right now, and they just kicked off their last final 4 episodes, a massive, serious, dramatic story arc all about Ahsoka and Anakin Skywalker and just the Siege of Mandalore. It's amazing. This first episode was so powerful, so dramatic, it blew us away. So definitely get on board with that and come visit us in the Mandalore. That's all I got. This is The Flash signing off.
And this is Harley Quinn. I'm out.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network.